you have every right to question why I'm filming a video in my car. Isn't that one of the most cliche ways to put together content to put on the internet? It is, but I'm doing it for a good reason. The book that I am talking about today, I experienced while driving. Not this car, a car. That's neither here nor there. I'll talk about that title and why it happened in a vehicle today on Casting Across. Hi, I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. Being in ministry, the vast majority of my reading is theology, practical, pastoral work, church history, things like that. The next tier down, as you may imagine, is fly fishing related. And then after that, there's a smattering of other stuff. There's a lot of biographies, history, and some fiction, both classics and newer books. And what might surprise you is that I try to mix in a horror novel every now and again. And one that kind of checks a lot of the boxes that I just talked about is 2016's The Fisherman by John Langan. It's called The Fisherman, a novel. 282 pages if you're going to read it, but if you're going to listen to it, it is a really, really compelling listen. High production value and definitely worth your time. That's how I enjoyed this book. Now, a few things about it. First and foremost, you can tell that Langan understands fishing. The way he describes the protagonist and his journey into becoming an angler is absolutely accurate. And if it bothers you to read something that is about your hobby that isn't quite lining up with your experiences, you're not going to find that here. Although the protagonist isn't fly fishing, he understands fishing, and Langan does a very good job of describing and articulating his drive as he becomes hooked, as it were. Secondly, and this might sound strange, but this is one of the best studies in grief I have ever read. Having walked through people's grief with them and ministered to them in that way, led groups talking about grief, this is a really, really good perspective on someone who is going through the grieving process. You may say, why would I want to read a book talking about that? Well, it's just accurate. It's a main plot point, and it's accurate, and so there's something to be said for that. The third thing that I think is really interesting about The Fisherman is that Langan does a very good job giving that sense of place. Most of the action takes place kind of in upstate New York, and for me this is really cool because I finished this book the last few hours as I was driving from here in southern New Hampshire across southern Vermont and into upstate New York to fly fish on the upper Delaware. And so it was kind of cool having been in that area, having fished in that area, to then listen to it as I'm driving around that part of the country. And that always adds a little bit of something, and the history that kind of gets peppered into it. And historical fiction is always really good because it makes it really, really believable if you are familiar with that era and that area. So I would recommend this book to you. If fiction's not really your bag, but you like fishing, then definitely go this way. If you know somebody who's into horror who you want to bring fishing, then by all means send them to The Fisherman by John Langan. But I would encourage you to mix in audiobooks into your driving. I use apps like Hoopla, Libby. Amazon Music gives you access to the audiobooks that are on Audible. And there's just so many that are out there. And of course, you can always just buy them as well. But I highly recommend The Fisherman by John Langan. It was a fun read, a little bit of a change of pace for me, but I think it's a great way to just kind of flex some of those reading or listening muscles in your head if you're used to only listening to one kind of book. So definitely check it out. If there is an audiobook that you have really enjoyed for fly fishing, let me know in the comments below. Then head over to castingacross.com for 3 posts a week on the people, places, and things that go into the pursuit of fish.